I do not have a home, young miss.
The rain hung in the air like a veil, soft and endless, blurring the world into gray. She could have kept walking, kindness was never expected anymore. But in his weary eyes she glimpsed something achingly familiar, the quiet emptiness she'd learned to hide behind her own smile. And in that pause between footsteps, she made the choice that would change both their lives. She stayed. Welcome to Story Theater. Take your seat, silence your phones and get ready to enjoy the story. The early evening rain drummed against the wide glass windows of Café Ballet Court. Inside, amber light warmed wooden tables and the air smelled of roasted coffee. Emily Carter sat by the window, her 26-year-old fingers moving across her laptop keyboard. Design files blinked on screen. Deadlines. Revisions. The endless freelance cycle that kept her afloat but never satisfied. She paused to rub her tired eyes. Her reflection in the window showed dark circles and messy hair. Outside, Portland streets glistened under streetlights. Everyone rushed somewhere. Emily wondered if she was rushing nowhere. Across from her, at the corner table, an old man sat alone. She had noticed him shuffle in 20 minutes ago. His trench coat was faded, brown, threadbare at the elbows, hanging loose on his thin frame. Arthur Bennett was 78, though Emily did not know his name yet. She only saw his weathered hands trembling slightly on the table. He had ordered black coffee, nothing else. The cup sat before him, steam rising. He stared into it as if searching for something lost. Emily tried focusing on her screen but her eyes drifted toward him. There was something about the way he sat. So still, so quiet, as if the world had forgotten him and he had accepted it. The old man reached into his coat with slow movements. His hands shook as he pulled out a cracked leather wallet. Thin and nearly empty, he withdrew a scratched credit card. A young waiter approached with the check. Arthur handed over the card without looking up, jaw set firm, trying to maintain dignity. Emily watched from the corner of her eye. She told herself to look away. Not her business. The waiter returned, bending down slightly. "Sir, the card has been declined." Arthur's hand froze halfway to the cup. For a long moment he did not move. His fingers hovered in the air, suspended. Then slowly he lowered his hand to his lap. His shoulders sagged. The lines on his face deepened. Emily felt something twist in her chest. She had seen that look before. Shame. The kind that comes when you cannot afford the small comfort you thought you could still have. The waiter stood awkwardly. Arthur reached for his wallet again, as if another card might appear. Emily's hand moved before her mind caught up. She grabbed her card and stood. Her chair scraped against wood. A few heads turned. She walked 3 steps to Arthur's table, heart beating faster. "I will pay for it," she said steadily. The waiter looked surprised. Arthur's head lifted. His pale blue eyes met hers, watery with age but still clear. Still proud. "Young lady," he began, voice rough. "You do not need to." "It is okay," Emily said, handing her card over. "Please." Arthur's mouth opened then closed. Pride battled necessity. The battle lasted seconds. He lowered his eyes and bowed his head slightly. "Thank you, young miss," he said quietly. "You are very kind." The waiter left. Emily stood there, unsure what to do next. Arthur looked down at his coffee again, hands still shaking. She wanted to say more. But what? She was just a stranger who paid for coffee. It meant nothing. It meant everything. Emily returned to her seat. Her laptop had gone dark. Outside the rain fell harder, washing streets clean. Inside the old man lifted his cup with both hands and took a slow sip. For reasons Emily could not explain, tears pricked at her eyes. Emily did not return to her laptop. Something held her there between the tables. Arthur lifted his coffee cup, both hands wrapped around the warmth. He seemed smaller now, fragile, like a bird with broken wings. She made a decision without understanding why. Her feet moved. She pulled out the chair across from him and sat down. Arthur's eyes lifted in surprise. His eyebrows rose. No one sat with him anymore. She could see that truth in how he stiffened, uncertain. "Do you come here often?" Emily asked gently. The old man studied her face. Then something softened. A faint sad smile touched his lips. "I used to," he said. His voice carried the weight of years. "Long time ago. When things were different." Emily nodded. She did not push. Silence settled between them, comfortable. Outside, rain drummed steadily against glass. Arthur's fingers traced the rim of his cup. He seemed to be deciding something. Finally he spoke again. "I was an accountant," he said carefully, handling the words like delicate objects. "Worked at a factory near here for 30 years. Good years, mostly. 30 years is a long time, Emily said. It was. Arthur's gaze drifted to the window, looking past the rain into some place only he could see. I was good with numbers. People are harder. He did not elaborate. Emily sensed walls around certain memories. Her eyes fell to the table. Beside his cup sat a worn paper bag, brown and creased. The top was open slightly. She glimpsed something inside. Arthur noticed her looking. His hand moved protectively toward the bag, then stopped. He hesitated. Then slowly he reached inside and pulled out a photograph. The paper was old, edges soft and torn, colors faded to pale yellows and blues. He held it carefully, as if it might crumble. "This is from a long time ago," he said quietly. He turned the photo toward her. Emily leaned forward. The image showed a young couple at a company event. Banners hung behind them. The man wore a dark suit, smiling broadly. The woman beside him had kind eyes and a navy dress. Other people in formal clothes, frozen in celebration. Emily studied the faces. Something about the woman struck her. The shape of her face. The smile. It tugged at her memory. "Who are they?" she asked. "My employers," Arthur said with reverence. "Good people. The best I ever worked for. She and her husband saved me once. When I had nothing. They gave me a chance." Emily's eyes stayed on the photograph. The woman's face. Where had she seen it before? Then it hit her. The poster on the street corner near her part-time office. A foundation poster with a photograph. Harrison Foundation. The woman had the same gentle eyes, the same expression. Her heart beat faster. Could it be? What was her name? Emily asked casually. Arthur's fingers brushed the photo edge. "Patricia Harrison," he said softly. "She and her husband built something good. Something that mattered." The name hung in the air. Emily felt a chill. Harrison. The same name on the poster. The same foundation 2 blocks from here. She looked at Arthur with new eyes. This old man with a declined card had once been part of something larger. Had known important people. And now he was forgotten. "They sound like good people," Emily said carefully. They were. Arthur's voice broke slightly. He tucked the photo back into the bag with tender care. "The best." Outside the rain lightened. Inside Emily's mind, questions gathered like storm clouds. The clock showed 10:30 when Emily finally closed her laptop. The cafe had emptied. Only the night barista remained, wiping counters. Emily packed her bag, shoulders aching. 3 designs finished. 2 more to go. She stepped outside into cold night air. Rain had returned, heavier now, drumming on awnings and pooling in gutters. She pulled her jacket tight and hurried toward the bus stop. Then she stopped. Under the dim yellow light of the shelter, a figure sat hunched on the bench. The old trench coat. The thin frame. Arthur. Emily's heart sank. He sat completely still, rain falling on his head and shoulders. Water ran down his face but he did not wipe it away. His hands rested on his knees, palms up, as if he had given up. She stood frozen, rain soaking her jacket. Part of her wanted to keep walking. This was not her problem. She had paid for his coffee. That was enough. But her feet moved toward him instead. "Mr. Bennett," she called. He turned his head slowly. Recognition flickered in his pale eyes. He tried to straighten up but his body betrayed him. He was shivering. Emily walked into the shelter and sat beside him on the wet bench. Rain pounded on the plastic roof. "You should go home," she said. "It is too cold." Arthur's lips moved into something between a smile and a grimace. He looked at his wet hands. "I do not have a home, young miss," he said quietly. The words hit Emily like a blow. She stared at him, at water dripping from his gray hair, at his coat clinging to bony shoulders, at the resignation in his eyes. "What do you mean?" she asked, though she knew. "No home," he repeated steadily, as if he had accepted this long ago. "Not anymore." Emily felt something crack inside her chest. She thought of her own apartment. Messy, cramped, but warm, safe. Hers. She had complained about it this morning. The leaky faucet. The noisy neighbors. Now those complaints felt obscene. She looked away, jaw tight. "Think," she told herself. "There is a shelter," she said. "A church shelter. Not far. I have seen it." Arthur shook his head slowly. "I do not want to trouble you." "You are not." Emily stood, decision made. "Come on." She held out her hand. Arthur looked at it for a long moment. Pride and need warred in his expression. Finally he reached up and took her hand. His fingers were ice cold. She pulled him gently to his feet. He swayed, unsteady. She steadied him with her other hand on his arm. They walked together into the rain. Emily held her umbrella over both of them, but it was too small. Water still found them, running down their backs, soaking their shoes. The streets were empty and dark. Only streetlights marked their path. Arthur walked slowly, each step deliberate. Emily matched his pace. She did not speak. Neither did he. But as they walked, something strange happened inside her. The anger she had carried for months, the bitterness about her failed career and lonely life, it loosened. This man had lost everything. Yet he still said thank you. Still tried to maintain dignity. Still carried photographs of people who had been kind. She felt something old and forgotten stir in her heart. Something warm. Something like purpose. The church appeared ahead, a simple building with a lit sign. Shelter. Open. Emily guided Arthur to the door and knocked. Inside the shelter, fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The space was clean but sparse. Rows of cots lined the walls. A few men sat on beds, faces turned away. The smell of disinfectant mixed with something stale. Emily helped Arthur to an empty cot near the back. He lowered himself onto the thin mattress with a long exhale. His wet coat left dark patches on the gray blanket. A volunteer brought towels and hot soup. Arthur took them with trembling hands, nodding thanks. Emily sat on the edge of the cot beside his, not ready to leave. Under the harsh white light, Arthur looked older. Lines cut deeper in his face. His skin was paper thin. But his eyes were sharp and clear. "You are a kind soul," he said softly. "Kinder than most." Emily shook her head. "Anyone would have done it." "No." Arthur's voice was firm. "Most people look away." He set down the soup and reached into his coat. The paper bag again. His fingers moved carefully as he pulled out the photograph. The same one from the cafe, but under these lights every detail was clearer. He held it out. "This is my boss," he said. "Patricia Harrison." His voice caught. "Without her and her husband, I would have lost my life." Emily took the photograph gently. She studied the woman's face. Yes, the same woman from the foundation poster. The same kind eyes and smile. "Harrison," Emily repeated slowly. Her throat felt tight. "I work part-time at a foundation. The Harrison Foundation." Arthur's eyebrows lifted. Something bright flickered in his expression. "Hope maybe." Then it faded to sadness. "So they are still around," he murmured. "That is good. You worked for them?" Emily asked. "For 30 years, Arthur said, staring at the photo. "I kept the books. Made sure every number was right. They trusted me. Patricia always said I was family." His voice cracked. Emily leaned forward. "What happened?" Arthur was silent for a long moment. His jaw worked. Finally he spoke. "The company was sold," he said flatly. "New owners came in. They looked at old employees and saw expense. They let many of us go." He paused. "I was dismissed. Just like that. After 3 decades. That is terrible," Emily whispered. "They forgot me," Arthur continued. His voice steady but hollow. "All those years meant nothing. I had no savings. No family. The pension they promised never came." He looked at the photograph. "But I do not resent them. Patricia was a good person. A truly good person. It was not her fault." Emily felt her chest tighten. She looked at this old man with nothing but memories and a faded photograph. He spoke of betrayal without anger, only acceptance. But doubt crept into her mind like cold water. Was this true? Or had time and loneliness twisted his memories? Did Patricia Harrison even know who Arthur Bennett was? Or was he just another face in a crowd? Someone who had built an identity around people who barely remembered him? She studied his face. The way his fingers touched the photograph. The way his eyes misted. He believed what he was saying. That much was real. But belief and truth were not always the same thing. Emily felt compassion and suspicion twist together inside her. She wanted to help. But she also wanted to know the truth. Morning light was gray when Emily walked through the glass doors of the Harrison Foundation. She had barely slept. Arthur's words kept circling. "They forgot me. Family. 3 decades. The lobby was polished marble and tall windows. Everything gleamed. Money and respectability hung in the air. Emily had been here before for part-time work, but today she saw it differently. Through Arthur's eyes. On the wall behind reception hung a large framed photograph. Black and white. Professional. A couple in their 50s standing together. The man had a strong jaw and confident smile. The woman wore pearls and had those same kind eyes from Arthur's faded photograph. Patricia Harrison. No doubt now. Emily's stomach tightened. She approached the desk where a young woman with perfect makeup sat typing. "Good morning," the receptionist said brightly. "How can I help you?" Emily hesitated. Her throat felt dry. "I have a question," she said slowly. "About someone who used to work here, or for the company before it became a foundation." The receptionist's smile remained fixed. "Of course. What is the name?" "Arthur Bennett," Emily said, watching the woman's face carefully. The receptionist's fingers paused over the keyboard. She typed, eyes scanning the screen. Seconds passed. Then she looked up, smile unchanged. "I do not see anyone by that name in our records," she said pleasantly. Emily's heart sank, but she pushed forward. "He would have worked here long ago. 30 years. He was an accountant." The woman's expression remained professional but empty. "I am sorry. We do not have information going back that far. Perhaps if you contacted our main office." "He said this place was like family to him," Emily said. The words came out harder than intended, almost desperate. "He said Patricia Harrison saved his life." Something flickered in the receptionist's eyes. Not recognition, more like practiced sympathy. She tilted her head and gave a soft smile. "Mrs. Harrison was a wonderful person," she said gently. "Many people felt that way about her." The smile, that ambiguous careful smile, it told Emily nothing and everything. "We have heard this before. We cannot confirm or deny. Please do not push." Emily stood there feeling foolish. What had she expected? Records pulled out. Someone remembering a man from 30 years ago. "Is there anything else I can help you with?" the receptionist asked. Emily shook her head. "No, thank you." She turned and walked back through the glass doors. Outside, gray morning had turned to drizzle. Tiny drops fell like cold needles on her face. She walked without direction. Her feet carried her toward the cafe. Ballet court appeared ahead, warm lights inviting. But she did not go inside. She stood across the street, staring at the window where Arthur had sat. The rain fell harder. It ran down her cheeks, mixed with something warm. She wiped her eyes quickly. Had she imagined some connection? Some meaning? Arthur was just an old man with faded memories. The foundation was just a building full of polite people. No story here. No mystery, just sad reality. But then why did her chest ache? Why did she feel like she had abandoned something important? The rain poured down, washing streets, washing away certainty. Emily stood alone in the cold with only questions and the sound of water falling on stone. Emily returned to the shelter that afternoon. Her hands shook as she pushed open the heavy door. The same fluorescent lights hummed, the same smell of disinfectant and worn blankets. But the cot where Arthur had slept was empty. The gray blanket was folded neatly, too neatly, as if no one had been there. A volunteer approached, an older woman with tired eyes. She wore a name tag that read Volunteer Coordinator. "Can I help you?" she asked. "The man who was here last night," Emily said quickly. "Arthur Bennett, the older gentleman in the brown coat. Where is he?" The volunteer's expression softened with familiar sadness. She had seen this before. "He left this morning," she said gently. "Early. Before breakfast." Emily felt something drop in her stomach. Did he say where he was going? The woman shook her head. "He just thanked us and walked out. That is what they do sometimes. They come and go." Emily stood frozen. Come and go. As if Arthur was just wind. She thanked the volunteer and left. Outside, the drizzle had stopped but the sky remained gray. She walked to the nearby park. Maybe he would be there, on a bench, waiting. The park was nearly empty. A few joggers. A woman with a dog. No Arthur. She went to the library, checked the reading rooms, the warm corners where homeless people rested. Nothing. She called 3 hospitals, gave his name and description. None had any patient matching. By evening, Emily was back in her apartment. She sat at her kitchen table staring at nothing. Her laptop was closed. Her phone lay silent. Rain had started again, tapping against her window like fingers asking to be let in. Had she imagined it all? No. She had paid for his coffee, had walked him to the shelter, had seen the photograph. Those things were real. But maybe she had projected meaning where there was none. Maybe Arthur was just a confused old man. Maybe his stories about Patricia Harrison were delusions. Maybe the foundation receptionist's empty smile had been right. Many people felt that way about her. Generic. Meaningless. Emily rubbed her face with both hands. Her eyes burned. The rain grew louder. She looked at her reflection in the dark window. A tired young woman staring back, 26 years old and chasing ghosts. Then her eyes fell on something at the edge of the table. A mug. She had not noticed it before. It must have been there all day, pushed aside this morning. A simple white ceramic mug. The kind cafes used. Emily reached for it slowly. Her fingers closed around the handle. It was cold. She lifted it and looked inside. The bottom was stained with old coffee. But there was something else. Faint marks. She tilted it toward the light. Letters. Handwritten. Barely visible. Worn almost away. Patricia H. Emily's breath caught. Her hands trembled. She turned the mug over, examining every inch. The signature was definitely there. Old. Faded. But real. This was not from the cafe. This was personal. Something Arthur had carried. Something he had left behind. Or something he had left for her. She set the mug down carefully, as if it might shatter. Her heart pounded. Not with doubt. With certainty. Arthur was real. His story was real. And somehow she had become part of it. 3 days passed. Emily kept the mug on her kitchen table where she could see it every morning. Patricia H. The faint signature reminded her Arthur was not a dream. He had been real and somewhere he still existed. She went to work, finished designs, ate meals. But her mind was elsewhere, always searching faces on the street, hoping to see a worn brown coat. On Thursday afternoon, she returned home to find mail by her door. Bills mostly, a catalog, and one thick cream envelope with an embossed logo in the corner. Harrison Foundation. Emily's hands froze. Her heart pounded. She fumbled with her keys, dropped them, picked them up, and finally got inside. She tore open the envelope standing in her doorway. The letter was formal, typed on expensive paper. Dear Miss Carter, we are pleased to inform you that you have been nominated for the Harrison Foundation Retiree Support Program. Your nominator Arthur Bennett. Emily's breath stopped. Her eyes read the words again. Arthur Bennett. His name printed there in black ink. Official. Real. She grabbed her phone with shaking fingers and dialed the foundation. Harrison Foundation, how may I help you? This is Emily Carter, she said quickly. I received a letter about a retiree support program. It says Arthur Bennett nominated me. I need to know about him. Please. Pause. Keyboard clicking. Then the voice returned, warmer now. Yes, Miss Carter. Mr. Bennett submitted your name as a program recommender. You are listed as his contact person. Emily's mind spun. I am the recommender. What does that mean? It means Mr. Bennett has designated you to receive program updates and scholarship opportunities on his behalf. He left your name and contact information. Emily sank into a chair. Her legs would not hold her. When did he do this? The application was submitted 4 days ago. 4 days. After she took him to the shelter. After she paid for his coffee. He had done this. For her. Do you know where he is? Emily asked. Her voice cracked. I am sorry. We do not have that information. Is there anything else? Emily's phone buzzed. Another call. Unknown number. Her thumb hovered. I have to go, she told the foundation. Thank you. She switched calls. Hello? Is this Emily Carter? A woman's voice. Clinical. Yes. This is Portland General Hospital. We have a patient here, Arthur Bennett. You are listed as his emergency contact. The world tilted. Emily gripped the table edge. What? Is he okay? He was brought in this morning. Pneumonia and dehydration. He is stable but he has been asking for you. Emily was already moving. Grabbing her jacket. Keys. Bag. I am coming, she said. What room? The nurse gave information. Emily barely heard. She was out the door, running downstairs, heart hammering. The rain had returned. Cold drops hit her face as she ran toward the bus stop. She did not care. She did not feel it. Arthur was alive. He had remembered her. He had left her name. And now he was asking for her. She ran faster, breath burning, rain soaking through her clothes. The bus appeared. She waved frantically and it stopped. She climbed on, chest heaving, and collapsed into a seat. Through the rain-streaked window, the city blurred past. Emily pressed her hand against the glass. Her fingers left prints in the condensation. Hold on, she thought. Please hold on. The hospital hallway smelled of antiseptic and floor polish. Emily's wet shoes squeaked on linoleum as she followed room numbers. 312, 314, 316, room 318. She stopped at the door. Her hand rested on the frame. Through the small window she could see a bed, white sheets, machines blinking, and a figure lying still beneath blankets. Emily pushed the door open slowly. The room was small and dim. One window looked out over the city, rain streaming down glass. The steady beep of a heart monitor filled silence. And there, in the bed, Arthur lay with eyes closed. He looked smaller than before. His face was pale against the white pillow. An oxygen tube rested under his nose. An IV drip fed into his thin arm. But his chest rose and fell steadily. Breathing. Alive. Emily stepped closer. Her footsteps were soft but Arthur's eyes opened. Those pale blue eyes, watery but clear. He turned his head toward her. Neither spoke. Then Arthur's lips curved into a weak smile. Tired but genuine. The smile of someone who had been waiting. "You came," he whispered. His voice was rough, barely above a breath. Emily moved to his bedside. Her throat was tight. "Of course I came." She pulled the chair closer and sat. Her hands folded then unfolded. She did not know what to do with them. Arthur's eyes stayed on her face. Memorizing it. Storing it away. "I got your letter," Emily said. Her voice wavered. "The foundation. You listed me as your contact." Arthur nodded slightly. The effort seemed to cost him. "You needed to know," he said, "that good things still exist. That kindness matters." "I do not understand," Emily said. Tears were building. "Why me? I am nobody. I just bought you coffee." "No." Arthur's voice gained strength. "You saw me. Most people look through us. Through people like me. But you stopped. You sat with me. You listened." He paused to breathe. "That is not nothing." Emily's vision blurred. A tear slipped down her cheek. She wiped it away quickly. Arthur's hand moved on the blanket. Just slightly. An invitation. Emily reached out and took his hand in hers. His skin was paper thin and cold. She wrapped both hands around his, trying to give warmth. Outside, rain fell harder. It ran down glass in rivers, distorting city lights below. "Patricia always said something," Arthur whispered. His eyes drifted to the ceiling as if seeing the past. "She said that sincerity always returns. That what you give comes back to you, even if it takes time." He looked at Emily again. "You proved it. You proved she was right." Emily's tears fell freely now. She did not try to stop them. "I did not do anything special. You did everything." Arthur's fingers tightened weakly around hers. "You gave me dignity when the world took it away. You reminded me I still mattered." The heart monitor beeped steadily. Rain drummed against the window. Time seemed to slow, stretching each second into something precious. Arthur took a slow breath. His eyes held hers with fierce gentleness. "You saved me," he said. Each word deliberate. Each word a gift. "And you saved yourself too." Emily's breath caught. She leaned forward, holding his hand tighter. "What do you mean?" she whispered. But Arthur's eyes were closing. A peaceful expression settled over his face. The smile remained, soft and content. "Thank you," he breathed. "Young miss." His hand relaxed in hers. The monitor beeped on. He was sleeping now. Just sleeping. Emily sat there holding his hand as rain washed the world outside and something deep inside her began to heal. Arthur Bennett died 3 days later. Peacefully. In his sleep. The nurse called Emily early in the morning. The words were kind but clinical. "We are sorry for your loss." He passed without pain. Emily sat on her bed holding the phone long after the call ended. The apartment was silent. Outside, the world continued. Traffic. Distant voices. Life going on as if nothing had changed. But something had changed. She felt it in the hollow space beneath her ribs. The funeral was held on a gray Thursday afternoon. Simple. A small chapel at the city's edge. Only a handful of people attended. Emily, 2 shelter volunteers, a social worker, and an elderly man who said he had worked with Arthur once, long ago. The casket was plain wood. No flowers except a single white lily Emily had brought. She stood at the front, staring at Arthur's photograph on a small table. An old photo from decades ago. He looked younger, hair still dark, eyes bright, wearing a suit, smiling. Emily reached into her jacket pocket. Her fingers found the folded paper she had brought, the cafe receipt. From that first night, the night she paid for his coffee, she stepped forward and placed it gently beside the photograph. The white paper looked stark against dark wood. Just a receipt, just numbers and a date. But it meant everything. Proof that kindness had happened, that someone had seen him, that he had mattered. She stepped back. Her eyes were dry but her chest ached. The service was brief. A generic prayer. Soft music. Then it was over. The coffin was taken away. People offered condolences and left quickly. They had other places to be. Emily stood alone in the empty chapel. Rain began to fall outside. Finally she turned and walked out into the cold afternoon. 4 days passed. Emily returned to routine. Work. Coffee. Designs. But everything felt muted, as if the world had lost color. Then another letter arrived from the Harrison Foundation. Her hands shook as she opened it. The same expensive paper. The logo embossed in gold. Dear Miss Carter, it is our privilege to inform you that Arthur Bennett enrolled you as the recipient of the Harrison Foundation Educational Scholarship. This program honors those who demonstrate compassion and integrity in service to others. Mr. Bennett left specific instructions that you be awarded this scholarship to pursue your creative endeavors. We also include a personal note Mr. Bennett wrote for you. Emily turned the page with trembling fingers. There, in shaky handwriting, were Arthur's words. Dear Emily, kindness is never wasted. Patricia taught me that. You showed me it was true. Take this gift. Build something beautiful. And when you can, help someone else the way you helped me. With gratitude, Arthur. Emily's vision blurred. The words swam before her eyes. She pressed the letter to her chest and closed her eyes. Tears came then. Not quiet tears from the hospital. These were deep shaking sobs that rose from somewhere old and broken inside her. Grief and gratitude mixed together until she could not tell them apart. She cried for Arthur. For his lonely life and gentle heart. For all the years he had carried kindness like that faded photograph. And she cried for herself. For the bitterness she had been carrying. For the walls she had built. For almost walking past him that night. She cried until there were no more tears. Then she sat in silence, holding the letter, as afternoon light faded to evening and rain fell softly against her window. 2 weeks later, Emily returned to Café Balletcourt. The evening was cool and clear. No rain. The sky was pale purple, fading to darkness. Streetlights flickered on, casting warm pools of light along the sidewalk. Emily pushed open the café door. The familiar smell of roasted coffee and cinnamon greeted her. The space was quiet. Only a few tables occupied. Soft jazz played overhead. She walked slowly toward the window. Her steps were deliberate, almost ceremonial. She passed other tables, shelves of books, the counter. And there it was. The corner table by the window. The radiator humming beside it. The chair that faced the street. Arthur's chair. Emily stood beside it. Her hand rested on the wooden chair back. The surface was smooth and worn. How many people had sat here? How many stories had this chair held? She pulled it out and sat down. The window was clear tonight. No rain. Just the city beyond. People walking past. Cars moving slowly. The world continuing its endless motion. Emily placed her bag on the table and looked out. This was what Arthur had seen. This view. These lights. This piece of Portland passing by. The waiter approached. A young man with kind eyes. Emily recognized him. What can I get for you? He asked. Black coffee, please, Emily said. Her voice was steady. The waiter nodded and turned. Then he paused. He looked at the table, then at Emily. Something shifted in his expression. This was his seat, the waiter said softly. The older gentleman. He used to sit here all the time. Years ago. Emily looked up at him. Their eyes met. She nodded slowly. I know. The waiter smiled. Sad but warm. He was a good man. Yes, Emily whispered. He was. The waiter left. Emily sat alone at the window. She folded her hands and looked out at the street. The lights. The people. The life moving past. Minutes later he returned with her coffee. A simple white cup. Steam rising in delicate curls. He set it down gently. Thank you, Emily said. She was alone again. Emily wrapped her hands around the warm cup. Heat seeped into her palms. She lifted it slowly and took a sip. The coffee was bitter and strong. Perfect. She set the cup down and watched the steam rise. Thin wisps curling upward, disappearing. Temporary but beautiful. Her eyes drifted to the window. To her reflection in the glass. A young woman with tired eyes but a soft smile. Behind her, the cafe glowed warm and golden. Beyond that, through the window, the city stretched into the night. For just a moment, in the layered reflections, Emily saw something else. A shadow. A shape. The outline of an old man sitting across from her. His hands folded. His eyes kind. His smile gentle and grateful. She blinked. The image was gone. Just her reflection now. Just Emily. But the feeling remained. The warmth. The presence. The sense that she was not alone. That she would never be alone again. Because kindness does not disappear. It does not fade with time or die with those who give it. It moves forward. It passes from hand to hand, heart to heart, life to life. It illuminates someone else's path beyond the reach of time. Emily smiled. A true smile. Full and real. She lifted her cup and took another sip. The coffee warmed her from inside. Outside, the city lights glowed like stars brought down to earth. She was ready now. Ready to build something beautiful. ready to help someone else, ready to carry forward what Arthur had given her. The kindness, the gift, the light. She sat there as evening deepened to night, drinking her coffee by the window, holding warmth in her hands. Has kindness ever found you when you least expected it? Tell us your story below. We love hearing moments like these. And if this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs a little hope today. Thank you for watching. This has been Story Theater.